Hi, I'm Linda Whitworth from the Alberta Barley Commission, and today we're going to make best barley bread. We're going to start with the ingredients: water, honey, yeast, barley flour, all-purpose flour, vegetable oil, lemon juice, and salt. Our water needs to be between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 and 45 degrees Celsius. This is the correct temperature for your yeast to develop. We're at about 108 degrees here, so it's just perfect. Because I have a lot of ingredients, I'm using a larger bowl to mix my sponge, and we're going to add our honey. Yeast needs honey or sugar to help it develop. It needs the sweetness to feed off of in order to grow. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of regular yeast. We'll sprinkle that in, give it a stir, and that yeast can feed off the sweetness of that honey. And now we'll just let that sit for 10 minutes for our sponge to develop. Our 10 minutes have gone by, and you can see how our sponge has developed into that nice dome of yeast. At this point, we're going to add 2 1/4 cups of barley flour. This is whole grain barley flour, which will give a really nice nutty flavor to our bread. We'll stir that in. Unfortunately, barley flour does not have quite enough gluten to develop with the yeast, so we'll use 6 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour in this recipe. We're going to add 2 cups right now and stir this together so that it looks like a batter as opposed to a dough. It'll still be quite runny and a little bit lumpy, but that's the texture that you want. This just gives us a good starting place to work with the rest of our all-purpose flour. Now that we have this mixed together as a batter, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of canola oil, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and this can be bottled lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, whatever kind of lemon juice you have available, 1 tablespoon of salt, and we will stir this in and then stir in as much of the balance of our flour as we can. Once it gets too stiff, we will knead in the rest of our 4 3/4 cups of flour. So that's 2 1/4 cups of whole grain barley flour, 2 cups of all-purpose flour to begin, our canola oil, lemon juice, and salt, and then the balance of our all-purpose flour. I think I'll be able to get this much flour stirred in, and then we'll turn it out on the counter to knead. So I'll move my equipment to the side here, throw a little bit of flour on my counter, pour my dough out here on the counter, and we'll knead in the balance of this flour for about 10 minutes. And you can see when you're kneading dough, it's a little messy to start. Always pull your dough from the far side, pull it towards you, and use the heel of your hand to get that good solid kneading action. This first little bit will be, as I said, incorporating our flour. And once we have it all incorporated, we're going to knead in the same direction. What we're trying to do is develop long gluten strands that will make our dough rise properly. Kneading is a wonderful way to release stress. You can think about all those things that happened last night and Work them all out while you're kneading your bread dough. Gets a little harder as you go along. Get it into a nice round ball. Take a greased bowl, set your bread dough in the greased bowl, and cover it with a damp tea towel. We're going to let this sit for about 20 minutes. It'll just about double in bulk, and then we'll get it ready for our pans. There we go, our 20 minutes are up, and you can see our bread dough has risen to about double in bulk. At this stage, we're going to pour it out onto our counter. Oh, look how nice and bubbly that is. With a little bit of flour on the counter, knead it just 2 or 3 times. This is the same as punching it down. And then I'm going to put it in a simple roll like this, so I can cut it in 3 equal pieces, or as close to equal as you can get them. One of those is a little smaller, but that's okay. You take each piece, flatten it down, maybe give it a little bit of a knead, get it into a basic rectangle about the length of your bread pan. Then we're just going to roll it up like this and pop it in our bread pan. We have 2 in our pans. Let's put our 3rd loaf in our pan so they're all ready to sit, and we let them rise for 1 hour. I'm going to cover them again with our damp cloth, and I always use a plain tea towel, not a waffle one. Sometimes the waffle ones will stick to your bread as it's rising. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes, even though we're letting our bread rise for an hour. That way, at the end of the 45 minutes, I can turn the oven on to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. It'll give it time for your oven to heat up. Reset the timer for the final 15 minutes of rising, and when that timer goes, we can just pop our bread into the oven. We're going to put our loaves in the oven and set our timer for 25 minutes. We'll check them at 25 minutes. Make sure that they're golden brown. Our timer just went. We'll take a peek. It's 25 minutes. They're getting brown, but we'll give them 5 more minutes so they're a little more golden. There, we're at 30 minutes. We've left them in for that additional 5 minutes, and they're a beautiful golden brown. Now, to test your loaves, if you lift them and just knock on them with your hand, with your knuckles, you can get a nice hollow sound. Those are perfect. Tip them out onto the cooling racks so that they don't steam and get condensation and make the bottom of your loaves soggy. Now, if we can just leave our loaves for about an hour until they're completely cooled, they'll be ready to eat. And now for the best part of the day. Our bread is cooled and we're ready to have a taste. We'll save that end for someone special. Looks delicious. I like a little butter on my bread. This best barley bread has such a wonderful nutty flavor. Even the aroma smells so good. We'll see you next time at gobarley.com. Thanks. Delicious.